Okay.
Good morning. I'm going to cover classroom design and more specifically desk arrangement. So I want you to imagine it's the beginning of the school year and you're stepping into your classroom for the very first time. It may look something similar to this. So the walls are desks are pushed back against the wall and the chairs are piled up. And as you look at all this, you know your to-do list starts growing, probably exponentially so. And one of the things you put on there is exactly how to arrange the desks. And you just wonder what the best arrangement for your students is going to be. Well, I'm going to cover some common desk formations and what studies say about them. And but first I want to go over some factors to consider beforehand. You want to think about your overall class size. You want to think about gender, female to male ratio, any students with special needs or students where English is their second language. Like with class size, if it's too big of a class or a larger class, you need to think of areas that are going to be in high traffic. You don't want any bottlenecking going on. But ultimately, as a teacher, you want to consider what your role is and how you view your students. In one of my articles, Getzel discusses that certain desk arrangements assume certain atmospheres. Like a rectangular arrangement with the teacher at the front implies an empty learner waiting to be filled with knowledge. A square arrangement with the teacher desk at the side assumes an active learner, and a circular arrangement assumes a social learner. And going over those basic seating arrangements, you have your row column seating, which we're all very familiar with. I guess the studies have shown that it's best for lecturing or test-taking situations. You have space in between the desks, the student is facing the front, and there's less distraction that way. Then you have cluster seating, and this is best for group work. Students they're sitting next to their peers, they can see how each other react. If a student sees another student struggling, they can jump in and help them, or they can easily say, hey, what's going on, I missed that. So that's an option. And then there's also horseshoe seating, kind of a type of circular seating, and then that is best for discussions or debates. And the teachers at the front of the classroom, they can help simply guide the discussion. Another interesting factor to consider is territoriality, and that's something that I never thought of myself, and I stumbled upon this article, and the study conducted showed that students, if given a chance to choose their own seating, and if they were sat at the edge, are students that are more particular to their personal space, they're more territorial. And so if you think about it, if these students aren't comfortable in their own personal space, they're not going to be learning as much. They're not going to be taking in as much information. So why not make them comfortable? And that leads to my next point. You as teachers need to make observations about your students and base desk arrangements off of their needs. Many of the other studies that I read, they had contradictory results, and that's simply because testing one classroom to the next, there's so many different variables that you have no control. So there isn't one right way to set up desks. There's no template to follow. And plus, all of your teaching is going to be done at different schools. You're going to have different resources. You're going to be teaching different subjects. For me, I'm going to be teaching art, so that's going to be different from like Caitlin. She's going to be teaching math. So, oh yeah, and if you're teaching multiple subjects in one room, that's going to be a challenge too. One way to go about that is, if you're lecturing, you can have the students sit one way, and if you're going next to a group activity, make them work a little bit and tell them to move their desks and put them into a cluster. So yeah, just react to your students and to your surroundings so they have a setup that's optimal for their learning. Thank you.